Hey, what's up? It's Kai. From the patient that felt her stomach being cut open during surgery to the man that got PTSD from his doctor taping his mouth shut during an operation, here are some insane stories of people who woke up during surgery. Number 10, Sidney L. Williams. Waking up during surgery is rare, but it does happen. The statistics say one unlucky patient in every 19,000 surgeries experience this kind of nightmare. There are certain surgeries that are dangerous no matter who is performing them, and open heart surgery definitely ranks high on that list, which is exactly what Sidney L. Williams had to go through during his 50s. When he was briefed on the procedure, he was told at best he had a 50-50 chance of living and dying on the operating table. Knowing the odds, he took the surgery anyway. He would soon wish that he hadn't, because not too long into the surgery, when he was supposed to be out cold, he heard a sound of a bone saw, one that was being used by the surgeons to open up his sternum. Williams immediately tried to go and warn the doctors that he was awake, but because of the drugs and medicine given to him to try and do the surgery, he couldn't move, speak, or even cry. Things only got worse for him when he felt the doctors work on his heart. At one point, it stopped beating, and it horrified Sidney as he could feel everything stop within him. He would make it through the surgery, but the nightmares that he had haunted him and caused severe physical damage to his teeth, making him grind them in pain and agony at the memories of the surgery. Number 9, Carol Weir. The story of Carol Weir is honestly pretty tragic in all sorts of ways, not the least of which was that she had a long-standing condition that caused her a lot of pain, a scratched cornea. She tried multiple surgeries with multiple doctors to try and get it fixed, but nothing would work out like she wanted, and she was still struggling. Finally, after multiple failed attempts, her doctor told her that they couldn't save her eye, and thus, it had to be removed. This would horrify most people, but for Carol, she was just glad something was happening and that she would be free of the pain. Except that didn't happen, or at the very least, not the way she thought it would. Because, as was procedure, she was put under by the surgeons and went to sleep. After a while, she felt herself waking up. Then she heard someone say, "Cut deeper, pull harder." Yes, she was hearing the doctors in the room operating on her, which meant the gas didn't take a deep enough hold. Usually, this would be where you would expect Carol to scream and force the doctors to react quickly. But that didn't happen, because as part of the surgery, she had muscle relaxants put into her bloodstream. She wasn't in pain because of the medicine put into her, but she was conscious and unable to speak or scream to let the doctors know she could clearly hear them. The result of this event, of course, caused massive mental damage to Carol. She was eventually diagnosed with PTSD and couldn't sleep on her back anymore because of how much it reminded her of the surgery. Scary. Number 8, Donna Penner. Donna Penner, like many before and after her, thought there was no way surgery could go wrong. But boy, was she wrong. She went under the knife for an issue with her abdomen. She was quickly put under and everything was fine, until she woke up and realized all too quickly that the surgery wasn't done. The reason that she realized this wasn't voices, but rather she felt the nurses in the OR literally washing her stomach. What's more, as the doctors and nurses continued, she realized that she wasn't just feeling all of their movements, including them literally moving her organs around. She was feeling the pain of every cut and incisions and so on that they did. Donna tried to get their attention, including twitching her toes to make it clear she was awake. But they dismissed this as a natural body movement and just grabbed the toes to get them to stop twitching. For the next 90 minutes, Donna Penner was awake and felt the entire operation, and it almost killed her by suffocation because the breathing machine she was on at the time wasn't giving her enough oxygen. The truly horrifying thing, though, was that after the surgery, she confronted the medical team. The doctor in charge merely noted, "It happens sometimes," and as a result, she didn't get any help from them or the hospital in overcoming her mental trauma. Her life spiraled as a result, and she was eventually confirmed to also have PTSD. These stories really make you consider having any kind of surgery, right? Before I tell you some more, go ahead and give this video a like and hit that subscribe button for more videos like these. Number 7. Sarah Thomas. Sarah Thomas desperately needed surgery after suffering years of pain from tonsillitis. Her throat would swell so badly she was constantly struggling to swallow. Even breathing was hard for her. But now she's seriously considering which pain is worse. She recalls the horrifying memory of being trapped inside her own body. She said, "The first thing I felt was pain in the right side of my throat, where the laser treatment was being applied. I was in severe agony, and the pain was all I could feel." Sarah could hear the clinical noises like the laser and the staff moving around her. She was wide awake, but had no way to let the doctors know that the anesthetic had worn off too soon. All Thomas could do was lay there and silently scream in agony. It would be 15 minutes that felt more like 15 hours before she finally heard the nurse say, "I think she has woken up," and pumped her full of more drugs until she was out again. But it would be too late. She was scarred for life. Following the incident, Thomas demanded an investigation. Turned out the machine was faulty and her levels weren't being monitored thoroughly enough. She was rewarded over $30,000 for the mistake, but she says, "I am grateful for the amount, but no amount of money can compensate for what I have been through," she said. She also added that she pursued the case because she wanted some justice and to make it less likely for someone else to have to go through what she went through. Following the experience, Sarah has sought counseling, but claims she still has panic attacks and trouble sleeping. Number 6. Jeannie Smith. Finding a cyst on your body can be an ordeal that requires surgery depending on where it is. For Jeannie Smith, she arguably had one of the worst places to find a cyst, as it was located on her ovaries. As such, she needed to go and have them removed. This is actually quite a common surgery, but what happened to Jeannie was not. She agreed to do the surgery and the procedure began as expected. However, not long after the surgery began, she woke up, and in her face was a bright, shining light. It was all she could see, and yet she could tell she was in the surgery room because of everything else that was going on. She tried desperately to warn the doctors and surgeons that she was awake, but nothing she did worked because she couldn't move at all. Because of the nature of the surgery, Jeannie Smith felt every single thing that they did to her, and she would later compare her ovaries being removed to being like a bomb exploding inside of her. She even noted that she was glad she didn't have more than 2 ovaries. But there's a twist in this story that did give her some closure. Smith later found out that the anesthetic had run out during the operation, and the anesthesiologist hadn't noticed. Smith sued the anesthesiologist, and she was awarded $150,000 for her suffering. It won't make up for everything, obviously, but it's better than not having anything for the pain she went through. Number 5. Carolyn Coote. Carolyn Coote was in the unfortunate position that she needed to have her gallbladder removed. She decided to have the surgery and was put under, but there was an almost immediate problem. The tube that fed her the anesthetic had a leak, and thus it ran out quickly and she woke up. This led to the second problem. While the anesthetic wore off, the muscle relaxants that were put into her were working at full strength. So as she was enduring the pain of the whole surgery, she was constantly trying to alert the surgeons that she was very much awake and in serious pain. But because of the muscle relaxants, she couldn't do anything but endure the pain. Eventually, one of the doctors saw her head twitching, as well as a spike in her blood pressure. They found the leak and clogged it up so that she would go back under. Quite understandably, when she was done with the surgery and properly awake this time, she was furious at what happened to her as she remembered everything. Coote developed post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety, and panic attacks. Number 4. Hector Alonso. If many waking up surgery stories are accidental tragedies, then the tale of Hector Alonso is more along the line of a horror movie because of what happened to him by accident and on purpose. You see, he had a cataracts problem, and as a result of that, he had to have surgery on his right eye. Perfectly standard all the way around. Except during the middle of the surgery, Hector Alonso woke up. This is where the horror element comes into play, because unlike many others, he was able to speak, and he told the doc that he was awake and begged him to stop the surgery because he could feel all the pain as they operated. Instead of complying, the surgeon ordered Hector Alonso to be restrained, as well as put tape over his mouth so that he couldn't speak anymore. What? What's worse, not only did this happen to him, the surgery failed, so he was completely blind in his right eye as a result. Naturally, Hector Alonso sued the hospital for all they had done to him and likened everything that happened to him to torture. Number 3, Diana Todd. Diana Todd was going to have surgery in the form of a hysterectomy. If you don't know, that's a very big deal surgery that removes the uterus from the woman's body. She was put under, but then quickly woke up as they were operating on her. She could hear the medical team and soon felt the cuts that were being put into her body. The pain that she felt was indescribable, and it affected her deeply both during and after the surgery. That's because when she confronted the nurse about what happened, the nurse denied that she woke up. She said, couldn't have happened, and that it was all in her head. Not the thing you're supposed to tell a patient, especially when it's clear that something is wrong with them. She began to suffer from claustrophobia and couldn't sleep without a light. Todd even contemplated suicide because of the ordeal. Number 2, Miss Y. The woman who refers to herself as Miss Y had a dual threat of problems within her. Specifically, she had appendicitis and ovarian bleeding and really needed to have surgery in order to fix the problem. As per the usual procedure, she was put under via anesthetic, but then she woke up and not only felt the pain of the procedure, she heard the medical team talking, and the things they were saying were very disconcerting, including talking about how there was so much blood and even telling each other to take pictures. After the surgery, Miss Y tried to get an answer from the hospital itself about what happened, but didn't hear back from them. Wanting answers, she decided to report the incident as a whole, and there was a mistake made. The anesthesia machine had a malfunction, and that's what led to her waking up. This went unnoticed by the team for 25 minutes, which, remember, she was awake for, until eventually someone noticed and the glitch was fixed. The anesthesiologist was suspended for 2 years because of this error, because they hadn't checked the machines before the surgery started. Number 1, Alexandra Bythell. Alexandra Bythell was in for what should have been a very simple surgery. She was there to have her appendix removed, something that is done all the time by surgeons without much issue. But this time, there was an issue, because Alexandra Bythell woke up and she heard the surgeons talk about her in various ways before eventually she passed out after getting an extra shot of morphine. After the surgery was completed, she went and asked the hospital what went wrong, but time after time, she got a list of excuses, including one noting that she must have hallucinated it. But she knew she didn't, and so she kept going after them until finally, one of them admitted that they had made an error. They didn't check the levels of the anesthetic that was given to her, and that's why she woke up. That was a very small comfort to her, as the PTSD that resulted from the surgery haunted her for some time. Thanks for watching. Are you scarred for life now? Are you brave enough for surgery? Has anything like this happened to you? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos like these. See you next time. Bye.